Hey guys, it's about 6 a.m. up here in Montreal, and I'm about to head out to get my morning coffee. I'm now cutting out my bagels. Bagels is kind of like a bready thing, if you will. Some of you eat. And I don't know, some of you may be going, yeah, I know what a bagel is, Stef. Some people around the world, they may not know what a bagel is. Anyway, it's a Montreal, where I am, is famous for its bagels. They're apparently much better than bagels outside of Montreal. From my experience, that seems to be the case, but who knows? I haven't had bagels in every city of the world, though. Anyhow, so I've cut out bagels because of the carb content. It's carb content. You want to limit your carbs, especially white flour, and bagels are pretty much that. So I just go out to get a coffee. And again, I go out because I work from the home most of the time. Well, I have an office in the house, and by design. I used to have a big location at one point in one of my businesses. I didn't like it because I didn't like the responsibility of having to have to go in there, because when you have a place and you got people working for you, you feel responsible. You have to go into work, even though you may not feel like it that particular day. So, and it's a huge expense as well. So I rather have a nice office, well, not big, but a nice office in my place and just deal with that. One of the things I've been doing this year, and it's not the first year, but I've been going through my old books, old CDs, remember CDs, and other things, clothes that I don't wear, and I've been bringing them to the Goodwill, the local Goodwill. And it has two amazing impacts. Well, amazing might be too strong, but it has two positive impacts. Number one, you get to clean out your closets, you get to clean out your shelves of things that you're not using. So I'm a minimalist by nature, and it probably comes from my martial art background, where at the most advanced levels of martial arts, you want to have very simple and efficient movement, very clean. You know, that is really what separates the good martial artist from the average martial artist. Anyway, so getting out all these old books, clothes I don't wear, CDs, DVDs, stuff I don't watch or listen to. I have a one-year rule for the most part. If I haven't worn or watched or read something within a year, or at least a year, with some exceptions, some special books, some very valuable collector's books here and there, I just bring them to the Goodwill. Let somebody else enjoy them. I feel good now that I must have brought over, like, between CDs and DVDs, like 100 of these to the local library, so that people can actually watch the films. People can listen to the music if they choose to, right? Another thing I brought to the Goodwill was my old Xbox 360, my Xbox 360. Perfectly good working order, and had about 20 games, Halo and Halo 1 and Rainbow Six Vegas and all kinds of games. And I used to play that a lot with some old buddies. We used to be able to get online with Xbox Live. It was just a way to meet, to chat with old friends, really. But that kind of broke down a little while ago. And anyway, we don't use the 360, so I figured, why is this viable working console sitting in my closet becoming more and more outdated? So I brought that to the Goodwill as well. So hopefully some kid will get access to a real cool console with a bunch of games. So yeah, cleaning house is it's pretty cathartic. It's like losing weight. It's like losing weight, and it does take strangely enough, it takes a little mental stress off of you. You know what else it does? It prevents you from buying stupidly. At least it helps, because you think about all the stuff you just gave away, and all the stuff you never read, or you haven't read in years, rather. Some of it I didn't read. There's a couple of books I haven't read. I bought them years ago. I just haven't read them yet. I get excited when I go to a bookstore. Or, hey, I gotta read this. Oh, this is cool. I gotta read. And then you don't end up reading some of them. Anyway, I spoke about in a recent vlog that I have been revamping, well, not myself, but I put in the queue to revamp the killer video store after a few years, to basically do some cleanup of the app. Not too much was needed because it was working pretty good. But more importantly was to clean out the old videos. That's what's hardest, right? Where you have a bunch of videos that I created years ago, and they were still, I would say, 90% to 95% relevant today, because technology, PHP and HTML and CSS and programming and all these things are pretty consistent. SQL, where they were 5 years ago. But at some point, you got to say to yourself, it's time to let them go, to flush them, and just put in the new stuff, the latest stuff. Clean house, so you're sure that people have the latest and greatest of your work. You see, though I've been creating videos since 2003, the stuff I did just 8 years, 9 years ago, or 5 years ago is not as good as my latest stuff, because you just get better with every iteration, of course. So yep, I also did a cleaning house. Well, we're in the middle of cleaning house of the old killer video store, swapping out the old stuff, and we're going to be putting in the new, and a few other little things here and there. And it feels good. It feels good to clean that out. And the final crescendo of this spring cleaning, if you will, is that I'm moving the last of my physical dedicated servers into the cloud, And so that's going to be a pretty cool thing, because when you're in a good cloud infrastructure, you don't have to worry about hardware failure. And I found a cloud service provider, actually a company I've been dealing with very long time for my physical servers. They got a cloud infrastructure which is turnkey and fully serviced, whereas my criticism of other providers out there like DigitalOcean and so forth, you have to become like a Linux administrator pretty much. You have to manage it, patching and backups and all. You have to do all kinds of work, which is kind of like a step backward in terms of hosting providers. So for a similar price, I found somebody who is able to provide turnkey cloud-based hosting. So they take care of DDoS attacks, database backups, patching, any support requests they take care of, so I don't have to have a Linux administrator around me, or I don't have to become a Linux administrator. This is good. This takes another headache off of my job as a CEO, and that's pretty cool. And if you've ever run your own company, you know, a big part of running a company is just putting out fires. And it's hard to want to focus on the creative stuff, because you want to get in there, you want to create a course, you want to do a podcast, you want to do a video, and then all of a sudden you got to deal with a problem. Client calls, new client comes in, you got to set up a special meeting with one of your distributors, blah 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 blah. It's this way it is. So if you're working for somebody and you're saying to yourself, yeah, these CEOs, they got it really easy. You know what? The one time I worked on a gig for a very large corporation, that was in the 90s. It was like a 3-4 week stint. And it was apparently during a high pressure situation for this company. And everybody was stressed out working there. And I was brought in as a hired gun coder. And for me, it was the easiest gig in the world. It was easy, because all I had to concern myself was with my little part of the job. I just had to do my thing. My help system had to work. That's it. Whether or not all these other things were coming into place wasn't my problem, wasn't my concern. It was very liberating, I have to say. But when you run your own business, when you're a startup founder, or you're just starting your own little business, you gotta be worried about everything. So that's a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot of stress that you don't have when you're an employee. So if you're an employee and you're wondering, it's not all bad being an employee. That said, I'm not discouraging you from being an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I've been 18, and I think the benefits strongly outweigh the cons in terms of being a business owner. But you have to understand it comes with a lot of headaches and work. All right, that's it. I gotta go get my coffee. Bye.